Thank you very much for participating in this session. My name is Julie Powell, and I am a professor of sport management in the Department of Physical Education, Wellness, and Sport at Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. And I realize we won't have enough time to dig deep on appreciative inquiry, but I hope to introduce you to this concept so that you can think about it in terms of your own faculty growth, and if you are in a leadership position, you will think about those that work with and around you. And this is a quote from a book I read not too long ago called Departments That Work. People everywhere want to feel valued, to know that others see their work as worthwhile. Faculty are no different. We need evidence that someone's paying attention. And so what I am finding with appreciative inquiry fits in this context, whether you're talking about faculty development, whether you're talking about a classroom culture, whether you're talking about family and personal relationships, athletic teams, I think this approach can be used and is very applicable to so many different settings that I hope you will find it useful. Just to give you a little background about me, I've been teaching. This is my 26th year at Union, so I do consider myself a professor who is attempting to understand and engage and connect not only with their students but with the colleagues around me. I also am a blogger. I needed a place to actually share all of this research that I was finding and to try to get feedback from other people. So I encourage you to visit and engage on there. And then the third thing, I consider myself a mentor. And throughout this process of researching appreciative inquiry, I'm trying to figure out how to use it to help future younger professionals navigate the industry. So I will try to keep my blog updated with new information, especially including appreciative inquiry. So I pose this question today: what approach are we taking to engage and equip our faculty? And I think we can do this with intentional communication and connection, and I think that appreciative inquiry is the approach that will allow this to actually occur. So just to give you a brief introduction, what is AI? I consider it to be what I call an improved mindset. I like taking a positive approach over a negative approach, such as trying to prove your worth to the university. It's basically a strategy or an approach that takes strategy and combines it with intimacy. So if you take strategies such as goals, outputs, and ideas, and you put those together with intimacy, you've got relationships, communication, and respect. So I feel like AI offers a willing partner to marry what you are doing well, what is working well, with even looking at how to do things better. So the focus of AI is going to be encouraging people to share their greatest experiences, also looking at their strengths. So this comes out of a strengths-based leadership philosophy. You're going to focus on the things that are currently working and how can you replicate that in different situations. And then finally, just creating this positive image of about where you want to go as a faculty member, where your department wants to go, where your organization, university, spreading that out and having that cascade through the entire organization. So for me, I love the fact that it emphasizes the appreciation aspect, and so you see a book there that I highly recommend. But I also have what I call the AAA to AI in faculty growth. And I consider these to be, first of all, awareness. I think it's important that we as leaders develop a habit of awareness, and this could be from asking simple get to know you questions, things like what is their Myers-Briggs, what is their Enneagram, DISC, Career Anchor, MBA inventory, whichever of those tools that you want to use. But I encourage you to know those things about the people you're working with. And then, of course, what are their strengths? You want to help them work out of their strengths and focus on that and duplicate that as much as possible. And then, as the book I mentioned on the previous slide, what is their language of appreciation in the workplace? Because it may be different than what I need to receive. And I think it's important that we understand that language when we get into the second A here in a minute. And I would also ask, a simple question. Do you know the anniversary date of their employment? Do you celebrate that? Or is that something that's left up to the university, HR, other groups within the organization? And then one thing I really want to focus on here, especially with developing a habit of awareness, is realizing that it may not happen in those formal evaluation meetings. I'm going to give you some ideas that I hope will help that happen, but a lot of times this awareness will come about in what I call side-by-side conversations, where you're working together, whether it's on a project or whatever, and you learn things about each other as you go about your day-to-day activities. And I will say this, as I have studied emerging generations, such as Gen Z, they are seeking purpose through their vocation. And so it's going to be important to ask what their purpose and meaning, what they're looking for in an organization, so that you can develop an awareness of what they're seeking beyond a paycheck. Now, the second A ties into the first, and this is about having meaningful recognition. Again, when you are aware of how your colleagues are gifted, the types of appreciation they look for and that are meaningful to them. For example, someone may want to be recognized in a department meeting in front of everyone, and another colleague may prefer a private handwritten note or private conversation. So just knowing that, asking those questions, inquiring what somebody is looking for will help make that recognition much more meaningful. And then the third A piece to this is what I call advancement, and that's taking these first two, taking that information, asking even deeper questions so that you can scaffold an improvement plan for that particular faculty member. So you might talk about things like step goals, stretch goals, and I would even encourage mentoring programs. I actually like the term learning partners better than mentors, because I think it goes both ways, where mentors has a tendency to be one directional. But these are ways that I feel like we can take appreciative inquiry to facilitate faculty growth and hopefully have a group that is not only engaged, but they're collaborative, they're intrinsically motivated, and they bring an energy that cascades through the whole entire organization. Now, one of the key elements to appreciative inquiry is what we call generative questions. And these are in the form of affirmative conversations. So when we have these conversations, we're going to see faculty growth and development, we're going to see employee engagement, you're going to see life satisfaction, better teaching, and again, it's just creating a culture that cascades through your department, then maybe through the broader structure of your university. Now, one of the things that's very important is how we frame the questions we are going to ask. Now, you see my picture there of a negative versus a positive way to frame things? Well, we need to think about how we're framing our conversations. And so sometimes it's going to be necessary that we as leaders set the stage that creates an appreciative tone and moves things in a positive direction. So the focus is now going to be on where you want to go or what you want to see more of. So you're creating a desirable focus. And when that happens, you're going to have conversations worth having. You're going to invite faculty to share their best experiences, what gives life to their university. And that's going to stimulate curiosity, imagination, and interest. And so we're moving the shift from a negative or a proof mindset to a positive or an improve mindset. Now, another part of this framing is going to be what you see on this next slide, and it's called flipping it. So sometimes we are going to have to flip the negative to the positive. So you see the steps there. Name it. What is the problem? What is the complaint or the thing you don't want? What is the opposite of that? What thing do you want? And then step 3, framing it. What is the positive impact if the flip were to be true? What is the desired outcome you're looking for? And these steps and this approach makes room for diverse and different perspectives because you're asking people, how do you see it? And a lot of times that brings out new information that can build momentum towards positive transformational change. So one thing I want to mention here, and I have a story called the pot roast principle from Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't have time to share that today, but I encourage you to look that up. And that has to do with these assumptions we make. And so I feel like a lot of times in the negative mindset, we are making assumptions about what is occurring or what is happening, where with appreciative inquiry, the positive, we are asking what is going on. So to give you a perfect example of flipping the frame to appreciative, you have someone that's late to a meeting again. You could say, I noticed you were late for the meeting and that's unprofessional. Or inquiring would be, what is in the way of being on time to a meeting? All right, same kind of concept, late. Somebody could say, a leader could say, we have a problem. You are always late to meetings. You have to change. Or we could reframe that conversation and say, what is the problem? Melissa is routinely late to meetings. What is the opposite? Being on time. What is the desired outcome? For her to be on time, because it's going to create within the team a strong sense of cohesion, collaboration, trust improves, all of those kind of things. So I'm going to condense an example of a conversation between an administrator and Melissa, the one that is always late. And in the conversation, he has already affirmed a lot of her strengths, talked about what she brings to the team. But he also says, I'm sensing that people are getting frustrated in meetings when you're not there. Do you have some ideas about how we can stay strong as a team? Asking in an appreciative manner. So then Melissa might respond, the meetings I'm late for are scheduled at 8 on Wednesday, and I have a difficult time getting here because that's the one day of the week I take my son to daycare because my husband can't. Could they be scheduled at another time or day? And so then the leader says, is that all it would take? And so you've created a positive solution, something that is repeatable, and the whole team benefits. So here are some other examples of how you might approach this. This is a great book, Conversations Worth Having, that I'm reading right now. Ask them to describe a time when they had a great learning experience with their students. You might call these peak experiences. I call them defining moments. And these are questions you might ask in a one-on-one evaluation meeting or just casual conversation. What did you learn about your students and yourself when that happened? And then what 3 wishes do you have that would make learning always like this? So then you're getting information there from a leader standpoint of how you might be able to support them to recreate this in all classes, dreaming there, all classes, but having it happen more and more instead of it being a rare experience. So I want to close today with a question. What appreciative questions do you wish an administrator would ask you? Just think about that. How could you share your strengths? How would those be fostered in your department in conversations worth having with your leadership? I thank you for your time today, for being a part of this presentation. If you'd like to contact me, my email is jpowell@uu.edu, or follow the blog. You can do that through email or just through the web or however. And I do encourage interaction on there. I'm looking for feedback from everyone. Okay, have a great day.